I'd like to start off by just, for the viewers, outlining that companies, your companies, are built on leasing limited national assets of radio frequencies owned by Canadians. You have been given privileged access, protected from foreign competition by Canadians. With that comes a responsibility to Canadians to provide service to them at a reasonable cost. The result of this privileged and protected position is that Canadians pay amongst the highest cell phone and internet prices in the world, and your companies reap monopolistic profits. Rogers' cell phone net profit margin is 62% and Videotron's 65%. Your profit margins show it's not the size of the country and the small population that drives up cell phone prices. There is less competition today than there was 10 years ago. Your companies bought up your competitors. As part of your privileged position, Liberals have enabled your lobbying access to officials during the decision-making process at an unprecedented level. Mr. Staffieri, as CEO of Rogers, during this transaction, you personally met with the Department of Industry more than 60 times and 5 times with the minister. So I'd like to know, were you negotiating the deal directly with the department?
Committee member Perkins, as we went through the process, it was an iterative process in terms of trying to come up with a solution that met the government objectives. We share your comments and this government's objective of more affordability for Canadians. And as you look to pricing at Rogers and for our industry, over the last several years, you've actually seen prices come down, and that's against the backdrop of increasing inflation. And as we discuss this, we can provide more details on that. But what I can tell you is we met with different government officials. It was really trying to find a solution that was going to increase competition. And what you saw come out of the tribunal process and was validated by the Court of Appeal yesterday is...
Steffi, I have limited time, so I appreciate that. But for transparency, will you table your officials, your executives, minutes from those meetings with this committee?
There is a process to make the relevant materials public, and we will follow that process.
I'd appreciate you considering that. Successful acquisitions obviously require job cuts. They generally don't involve job increases. And Rogers told the Competition Tribunal that it will realize efficiencies through job cuts in most areas of both companies. In speaking with your company insiders, I'm told that Rogers will actually cut 4,000 to 5,000 jobs in the combined entity, not the networking temporary jobs, I think, which you mentioned earlier. So are you going to cut 4,000 or more jobs?
As a result of this transaction, there will be a net investment in more jobs. What we do as a company is invest in networks so that we can serve our customers and give them better quality and coverage. That means we have to invest more. That's how we built this company. Our entrepreneurial DNA is to continue to invest more and more into networks. When you talk about the profit margins that you referenced earlier, most of that cash goes back to investing in infrastructure in this country.
My question was about job losses, not your profit margin in this time. Are you going to cut thousands of jobs in this merger?
There will be areas that have overlap, and we will look to redeploy resources in areas that are growing. We are a net growth company, and we see more opportunity for employment throughout the country.
Okay, I appreciate that. Mr. Pelado, in the past, your company has made commitments when it's acquired spectrum licenses to expand and create a cell phone business in Western Canada. But in fact, you've sold more than 100 of those licenses for over $300 million in profit. So I know you've made a lot of promises at the tribunal, but we're a little skeptical that, like your past promises to the government, you may not do it this time. So will you agree to be bound by the business plan you have tabled with the Competition Tribunal, or lose all of Freedom's spectrum licenses?
We participated in the spectrum auction since the first one took place in 2008. At that time, and as of today also, we intended to be a national operator. For the reasons where the auction went, skied through the roof, and one of the reasons why is that Global Live was bidding, with the others people money. In fact, that was foreign money at that time. We were caught with spectrum. And all the conditions, therefore, after the other auction were not all together to make sure that we have the capacity to invest and build a network. Today, with the policy that was established by the CRTC, in fact, this policy took place 2 years ago already. We call it the MVNO policy, which are providing the proper conditions to make sure that a fourth operator or any sort of operator will be able to operate.
I appreciate that, but my question wasn't about MVNOs. TechSavvy has launched an application before the CRTC to have a hearing on the undue preference, supposedly prices of this deal that have been given by Rogers to your company. If the CRTC rules against you on those preferential rates and you have to abide by the CRTC rates for access to the network, will you walk away from this deal?
Well, first of all, you will find out what the CRTC will do. We have a new chair right now, and I guess that it is important for her to make sure that, they will ask if, the prices for the TPIA are right or wrong. We don't know at this stage. We were partnered with Rogers in Quebec. We built network together, and we will continue as, we've been doing business with them. And this is the reason why, we have this agreement that we negotiated out of this transaction. It was not easy, and at the end of the day, I guess that, we were able to put all together the conditions to make sure that this fourth operator will succeed in the future. But also, and this is very important, by investing significant amount of money, as Tony Staffieri said, we're a business that have been investing in building networks to make sure that Canadians will continue to enjoy one of the best quality network in the world.
And highest prices.
Merci, Monsieur Pelado. Madame.
Thank you, Mr. Pelado. Ms.